Welcome to the latest episode of What's Going On in the Supreme Court of the United States. In the case under examination, the suit is against the District of Columbia for the actions of the District of Columbia Police in arresting 21 people in attendance at a party in the early hours of the morning in Washington, D.C. For reasons that will become obvious, we have labeled this episode TastyPeaches in the SCOTUS. In this segment, we look at what is called a 1983 action, that is, an action under 18 U.S.C. 1983 for damages against a person, quote, who under color of any statute of any state or the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected any citizen of the United States or other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and the laws, close quote. The case was District of Columbia v. Westby, and it arose after a motion in the D.C. District Court seeking what's called qualified immunity for the defendant officers failed as to two of the officers. The matter had then proceeded to trial in the district court. That trial resulted in a jury verdict in excess of $600,000 against the two officers, and by the time the matter reached the Supreme Court, the amount of the judgment had grown to nearly $1 million. Because the issue in the case turned on whether or not the officers were entitled to qualified immunity against the suit, and since the qualified immunity question turned on whether or not the officers had probable cause to arrest the people attending the party, the facts in the case, which form the totality of the circumstances supporting probable cause, are important and need to be related here, as they were related by Justice Thomas in the Supreme Court's unanimous opinion. Around 1 a.m. on March 16, 2008, the District of Columbia's Metropolitan Police Department received a complaint about loud music and alleged illegal activities at a house in Northeast D.C. The caller, a former neighborhood commissioner, told police that the house had been vacant for several months. When the officers arrived at the scene, several neighbors confirmed that the house should have been empty. The officers approached the house and, consistent with the complaint they had received, heard loud music playing inside. After the officers knocked on the front door, they saw a man look out the window and then run upstairs. One of the partygoers opened the door and the officers entered. They immediately observed that the inside of the house was in disarray and looked like a vacant property. The officers smelled marijuana and saw beer bottles and cups of liquor on the floor. In fact, the floor was so scattered with debris that one of the partygoers refused to sit on the floor while being questioned.